Time now for the lead. The lead is brought to you by Grand Prix Motorsports. If you are looking for the original motorcycle, talking about the Indian motorcycle, all you have to do is check them out. They're off of County Line Road and Santa Fe. Did you want to say Santa Fe?
I was so used to Benjamin's ringing in my ears.
Let's do that again. If you want to find Grand Prix Motorsports, you can find them off of County Line Road and
Santa Fe.
That's excellent. I think Benjamin has officially been replaced. Do you think we can sync the two of you up? Like a boy band.
That's what it's kept.
The new Post Kids on the Block. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Does that have a nice ring to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a gray primered van outside, cotton candy machine, some old
Just as long as you don't have a white van outside with no windows on it.
Right.
Okay? That's the van that you don't want to have on a lot of different levels. Okay, Gary Kubiak says that C.J. Anderson is going to be his starting running back going into OTAs. Not really much of a surprise here.
No.
But now that we are past a bunch of drafts, in hindsight, does this have to do with really good scouting by the Broncos scouts finding C.J. Anderson, or does this have to do with, boy, they really dropped the ball on Montee Ball and Ronnie Hillman? Because that was a second-round pick and a third-round pick, and now they're starting an undrafted free agent rookie.
I'll address the CJ part first.
Not rookie. But.
Was Bill Belichick a genius for drafting Tom Brady where he drafted him? Was Mike Shanahan a genius for getting Terrell Davis? No, at the end of the draft, you kind of look around and you go, oh, well, we'll take this guy. He seems to fit our culture pretty good. Terrell Davis is going to be a special teams guy.
Right.
That's where he first made his mark down in Tokyo, making that play on special teams. That's what opened the coach's eyes. So this is the NFL. Certain guys are overlooked for lots of reasons, whether it be, transitional stuff in college, not the right fit and scheme for their system in college, or just, some guys actually fit the NFL style a little bit better than what they did in college. But as far as drafting of Ronnie Hillman and Montee Ball, I thought Montee Ball is not a terrible guy. He's going to be a good player in the NFL, particularly once he gets over some of this injury stuff. So I don't give anybody the kudos for picking this guy up in the scouting department, nor do I give them the negative for drafting the other two guys. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Player procurement is a crapshoot at best.
Yeah, when you look at Ball, they had such high hopes for him entering last season. And once he had that appendectomy, he came in heavier. Then he had an appendectomy, so he lost a bunch of weight, the dramatic weight loss. And then the groin injury, he got hurt against Arizona, and it was clearly he wasn't ready when he played at St. Louis. So a lost season for him. What's hurt them with Ball is they had Eddie Lacy on the board. That, more than anything, is because that was a conversation at the time, is do you take Lacy? And ironically, there was questions about his health because he was a tank. He was overweight, and if he's overweight now, when you give him money, he's going to be worse. That's generally that cliche that follows. And Hillman doesn't fit anymore in this offense for me. I don't know that he can make this team right now as we sit here today. But there doesn't seem to be a great role for him anymore. So would that be a miss? Ultimately, that's probably going to be characterized as a miss. Ball can still salvage it because the idea they're going to go to the post with C.J. Anderson for 300 carries or whatever, that's probably unlikely. Mm-hmm. I could see a mixture of those two working with C.J. getting the lead nod. But Bill Polian, I've talked to him about the guys you draft from kind of fourth round on. It's now third day of the draft. Used to be second day. That's where scouts make their money. Is the first 3 rounds there feels like there's more certainty, even though statistically you could probably say it's not. Fourth round on, those guys that not only make your team but have an impact in specific roles. That's where Denver really got hurt last year, is Barrow didn't have a role. Corey Nelson didn't have a role. Cody Latimer, which is the second-day guy. Michael Schofield. They had all these guys didn't have a role. You couldn't get them on the field. So, and C.J. Anderson, to his point, how in college it didn't fit, he didn't even start in college.
Right.
And like Juwan Thompson didn't start in college. And that's how it's as weird as to say you couldn't start for Duke and you can play for the Broncos, but he didn't. They had a 4-man stable at Duke. Mm-hmm. So his point is true. It's just for the fan to step back. How could you not start at Duke in football and then start for be a candidate to start like this year at fullback for the Broncos? It just doesn't follow, but it's true.
It's a fascinating thing how some guys fit better in the NFL than they do in college.
Right.
How could this be? It's a rare thing. It's a lot more isolated incidents than the regular incidents, but it does happen year in and year out. There's guys who couldn't get on the field in college, somehow because of size or connections, get their foot in the door. But once their foot's in the door, they're able to make a team and go out there and make plays for that team.
Troy and I spend a lot of time in the locker room. We spend a lot of time talking to executives or players or so on and so forth. You know the game better than us combined. But I'll tell you what I've been told, and I think that Troy would agree on this. I have been told that the Broncos believe that Ronnie Hillman is their most talented running back. Have you heard the same thing?
Not coming into this year. Going into last year.
Going into last year.
Yes. Not
they felt he
year.
was their most talented, athletically gifted guy.
Mm-hmm.
Going into last year, did you agree with that?
I would have agreed with that, yes.
Now going into this year, where do you stand?
I would say if you are going to have a athletic contest between the three backs, I think Ronnie Hillman's going to win outside of, say, doing the bench press test. But the NFL is not an athletic contest. It's a football playing contest.
Right.
And it's the right mesh of skills. Do you need to be 4'3"? It'd be great if you were, but you can be a 4'6" guy like Emmitt Smith and be the all-time leading rusher. So there's a lot of different ways to make yards in the NFL, and I think C.J. Anderson best fits this scheme they're going to run this year.
I think Hillman would be best in a spread offense.
Yes.
Like Shady McCoy type guy. I'm not saying Shady McCoy, but spread offense, I just think that would help him more because he's not a between the tackles guy. And if you can get him in space, Ronnie's really good. But that's not really kind of what they're looking for in this offense now.
All right, that segment brought to you by Grand Prix Motorsports. If you're looking for the original motorcycle, talking about the Indian motorcycle, there's our buddy Jeff on his Indian Classic. Of course, he got it at Grand Prix Motorsports, located off of County Line Road and Santa Fe.